AITAH for ruining my brother and his wife's pregnancy news with news of my recent cancer diagnosis. Posted by URA 199,299. Bit of backstory: my brother and I are very close, his wife and I, not so much. We've had our fair share of tension. Anyway, I fell sick in the middle of May but held off getting checked out because of COVID and safety reasons. Eventually, when June started, I decided to go get it checked out. Turns out it was stage 2 breast cancer. I decided to tell my family 2 days ago since lockdown laws have been lifted, so I invited everyone over. When I told my brother and his wife, he said okay, that's fine because he had news to share too. So our family gathered and my brother decided to go first. He did ask me, and he announced that his wife is 4 months pregnant. Of course, everyone was overjoyed. After about an hour, they asked about my news, and I knew this was probably the last time in a long while I'd have everyone here in person, so I told them. And, of course, the initial joyous atmosphere was gone. The rest of the evening was a lot of support for me and not a lot of attention on my brother and his wife. My brother didn't seem to mind this, as he was quite distraught by my news, but I saw his wife pretty upset and cornered off. So I decided to approach her, and I apologized for the timing of it all. She told me I could have waited a bit and skyped everyone with the news, as it's just stage 2, and let my brother and her have this moment with their family. I told her I initially called this meeting for this exact reason, and she said she knows, but that I knew my news would dampen everyone's mood. So I told her she's being ridiculous and that I wanted to tell my family in person, since they are my family, after all. And she burst into tears and demanded to go home, which my brother obliged, even though he was confused. He promised he would come see me soon, since he stays close by. Later that evening, I got a message from him asking if I told his wife that she isn't part of the family and that I deliberately wanted the attention on me, because that's what she's upset about. Also, the next day, my parents called me to check up on me, and my mom mentioned that my brother's wife had called the previous evening really upset, telling them what I said and claiming I'm jealous because she's pregnant and I'm trying to ruin her life. I told my parents what actually happened and what I really said, and it's caused not only tension between his wife and me but also between my parents and her. Now she's also blaming me for my parents not being her biggest fans. My brother is torn but has been trying to talk to her, which results in more tears and a strain in their marriage. All this drama is making me think that I should have just called everyone instead, or just told my brother that his news had to wait, even though that would have been selfish of me. I really wanted my family's support that day, but I'm starting to rethink whether it was worth all this drama and potentially causing further problems. /relevant comments. Commenter. Not the jerk. I was so ready to call you the jerk from the title alone. But you arranged this meeting to break the news of something very serious, and your brother decided that it was time to break news as well. Could you have handled this better? Well, yes, you could have asked him privately what his news was when he said he had something to announce so that it didn't get awkward like this, but regardless, the blame does not fall on you at all. The fact is that cancer is, a bit more of an important thing to announce than a pregnancy, and the sister-in-law made a huge misstep getting jealous and saying what she did. Skype? Really? She's definitely the jerk here. There are things more important than a pregnancy, especially because a pregnancy has a lot more of a time frame to announce than a disease you're going to need to get some pretty obvious treatment for. Also, I wish you a good recovery. Commenter 2. If sharing it in person was unimportant, then why couldn't your sister-in-law share the pregnancy news over Skype? Her own reasoning should have been good enough for her. And good luck with your treatment. Commenter 3. Just stage 2? It's still cancer. You could have responded by telling her she's only 4 months pregnant. That's how ridiculous that statement sounds. She seems incredibly manipulative. I'm so sorry about your diagnosis. Hopefully, your brother stays close, and at least you have the support of your family and of Reddit. Good luck with your treatment. Commenter 4. She also lied and said Op told her she wasn't part of the family and that she was jealous and wanted the attention for herself, presumably to get Op's brother and parents on her side. Then, when Op exposes this as a lie, naturally the parents are pissed at her, and she blames that on Op as well. She's terrible. Op adds an edit to her post. Wow, I didn't expect this to get so much lovely feedback, and to think I was slightly scared to post this. Thank you all for the overwhelming support, love, and huggies. I've read, and am still reading, every single comment, and I really, really appreciate it. I will most definitely fight through. Thank you all so much. Just wanted to add a few points. When my brother told me he had news too, he was really super excited and added it as a just by the way, I'll announce mine too. He did apologize and admit afterwards that if he had known what my news was, he would have held off on his, because right now, what's important is my recovery. He also admitted he wrongfully assumed that my news would automatically be good. I'm usually always the happy, chirpy one. His wife wasn't too fond of this either. My brother's wife also had a miscarriage at the beginning of the year, which is why this pregnancy, I suppose, was extra special. I'm truly happy for them. I just wish she could understand, like one user pointed out, that this isn't a competition. I don't know why I couldn't tell him over the phone. We are really close, and I knew it would have crushed him. I couldn't steal him away at the gathering either because he was the last to arrive, and when he did, he just quickly mentioned, "Hey up, mind if I go first?" And I was frozen on the spot, so I said sure. Also pretty silly on my part. It's hard to explain that feeling where you're absolutely frozen and there's a big lump in your throat that prevents you from speaking, but saying the news in the first place was really difficult to begin with. Adds a second edit to her post. Just another point to clarify, I'm not a saint, but my brother means a heck of a lot to me. It's exactly why his wife and I cleared the air between us before, because I wouldn't deliberately make his life hell by pissing her off. Hence, when I saw she was upset, I approached her. And when she told me I could have Skyped, I responded that I wanted to tell them in person since they're my family and they would probably want to be there with me when I broke the news. I never once implied she wasn't a part of it. My brother and parents know this. Update 1 month later. Sorry this is so late, a lot has been happening over the past month since the news came out, and since I've received a tremendous amount of love from Reddit, I thought it would only be fair to let you all know what happened. First and foremost, I've started treatment, which is also one of the reasons I couldn't update sooner. Thank you all for your well wishes. I plan on bouncing back as soon as I can. Anyway, I could see that my brother was under a lot of stress, and I finally sat him down to talk about it properly. He showed me a bunch of texts that his wife sent him, telling him he is a crappy father for choosing me over his family. She said I was seeking attention and that nobody cares about her. One thing that really got to me was that she told him to choose once and for all. If he picks me, he loses her and his child, and if he picks her, she doesn't want me in their lives at all. I felt terrible, not only for him but knowing that I could have prevented all this. I took the time to apologize for putting him in this position, and if I had just pulled him aside soon enough and given him a heads up, he would have truly understood. My brother told me I shouldn't apologize because he should have been more considerate. He also mentioned that his wife would have probably still gotten mad at him whether they did or didn't share the news on that day. So I decided I should invite her over for coffee to sort everything out. I spoke to her alone. I asked her about everything. She was very cold and didn't really answer, so I started talking first by apologizing if I made her feel excluded from the family or that her pregnancy was of any less importance. I explained that I should have given them a heads up so we could have avoided what had happened altogether, and that was my fault, and that I was very sorry. But I also mentioned that the way she reacted and went to the extent of lying wasn't okay. She then started crying and vented about how angry she's been, and that my brother always puts me first. Recently, they've been going through a rough patch, and when he sided with me, it made her even more upset and feel even more lonely. She admitted she lied to my parents and my brother, saying she was hoping they would show her more sympathy, and when they were cold to her, she got even more upset. After hours of talking, she apologized for how she acted and has been acting, and she said she would like for us to move on from this. My brother came later and they both went home. He texted me saying they both spoke for hours and agreed to couples therapy. My parents are currently living with me and helping me out tremendously, but they're not quite happy with my sister-in-law yet. Although they promised to try to work things out, things finally seem to have calmed down, and let's hope it stays that way. None of this would have been possible without the feedback you all gave me, and I'm indebted to that, so thank you. /relevant comments. Commenter. You seem like a really kind person. It saddens me that you felt you needed to apologize. You did absolutely nothing wrong. Your sister-in-law's behavior was absolutely atrocious, and she is incredibly lucky that you are working so hard to make up for her mistakes. I know sometimes it makes more practical sense to do what it takes to diffuse a tense situation, and it seems like your sister-in-law placed your brother in an incredibly unfair position. But I am a little concerned that you're taking on guilt and stress that you shouldn't have to because you're such a nice person. Please don't let people gaslight you into thinking you did something wrong when, at each step, you were not only utterly blameless but incredibly gracious despite your sister-in-law's terrible behavior. Wishing you the best in your fight against illness, and hoping you are taking as good care of yourself as you are of others. Commenter 2. Imagine accusing someone of stealing the spotlight with their cancer announcement at a gathering they arranged. She needed therapy ages ago. Adds an edit to her post. All of you are so kind, honestly, but I wanted to clarify that I'm no saint, nor am I selfless. I know what happened wasn't entirely on me. However, in order to focus solely on my recovery, I can't be stressed out about this whole situation and have all this tension around. Seeing my brother being put in that position, and my sister-in-law, as hurtful as she was, being upset and holding hatred can affect herself and the baby. I did what I could to fix things so that everyone can focus on being healthy and being positive without holding any grudges. I know I sure will. I know my sister-in-law, she can be very stubborn and unreasonable, and if I left things in her hands, I'm 99% sure it would have resulted in much worse circumstances than me putting the first hand forward. At least now, I can focus on my recovery without any distress or toxicity. I'm human, I felt angry, I felt upset. Yeah, I wanted to give her a piece of my mind. But doing so isn't helping myself, her, my brother, or my family, only damaging things further. This realization is what prompted me to let it all go and focus on positivity in my mental and physical health. Adds a second edit to her post. I spent all day on Reddit reading every little or big comment made, and honestly, I didn't know you could feel so much support from people you've never met. You are all amazing humans. Thank you all for the upvotes, comments, and awards. I'll still read every single comment, but this will be my final edit. And for the people who asked, I'm 24.